please keep public comments to the items on this agenda.
My children, my 3 children, have 2 moms, and I'm against any provision that tells kids that sex is assigned at birth. This claim is without any scientific basis whatsoever and misleads people, especially children, into thinking that male and female are arbitrary designations that can change. I can't think of anything more anxiety-inducing for a small child than telling them that they may not really be who they think they are. Kids need adults around them to provide structure and boundaries, and that is what instills a sense of safety and security. So how about the message that, hey, kiddo, you can be a rough tomboy girl or a feminine, sensitive boy, and you are perfect just the way you are. You don't need to fit into regressive stereotypes to be okay. It starts with pronouns, which leads to social and medical interventions that a growing number of countries far more liberal than the United States are banning in lieu of long-term therapy. And guess what? There's been no wave of suicides and other mental health catastrophes, thank God. What about the parents, though, who don't agree with this? To police children into using preferred pronouns as a mourning ritual is imposing an ideological and political system on kids that disenfranchises parents, full stop. What's that going to do to a kid's psyche, to have the school and the parents in conflict with each other over the value system they're trying to instill? It's not the place of teachers, the school, the government, or this committee, frankly, to impose an ideological mandate on other people's children. I speak for many parents in the community. Please stick to the academics where the focus needs to be, and at the very least, just press the pause button on this and kick this issue down the road a bit until we can get some more long-term data. If I were you, I would not want to be on the wrong side of this. Thank you.
Dear members of the school committee, do any of you remember the DARE program? Police officers would come to school, teach kids about different types of drugs and how to resist peer pressure. It was incredibly popular in the 90s, and now it seems to have just disappeared. The DARE program had to be scrapped because DARE increased drug use as much as 29%. And the same is true for many issues that teens face that we teach about in schools. Anorexia, bulimia, cutting, suicides, they are all socially contagious. So I'm very disturbed to hear that the Heights Elementary School Improvement Plan will have teachers discussing gender identity and family structure during morning meetings in grades K through 5. Gender confusion is socially contagious. An entire classroom of 5th graders in Chesterfield, Missouri came out as trans after just one of their friends did. It was revealed in public records. Gender confusion is increasing exponentially. Prior to the year 2000, it affected less than 1 in 25,000 people. A town our size might have 1 person or no people. The American Academy of Pediatrics recently published the results of a youth survey of a northeastern urban school district where 9.2% of students identified as trans or non-binary. Gender confusion is becoming a fad, especially for teen girls. It is a fad that leads to sterilization, chemical castration, and brutal surgery. Sharon teachers saw a brief DESI slideshow about depression and bullying of LGBT youth. They did not receive any training on how to discuss gender confusion without encouraging kids to try it out. Instead, under Carol Perez's guidance, they would read colorful, enticing books like Julian is a Mermaid to kids who actually believe in mermaids, Santa Claus, and the Tooth Fairy. I know you just want to be kind and inclusive, but Goal 5 of the Heights School Improvement Plan is dangerous. Teachers should talk about kindness without encouraging magical thinking that kids can switch genders like costumes. Because as adults, we know the reality is not mermaids and unicorns. It is sterilization and radical surgery. We should not be doing this to our kids. Thank you.
So I have kids and I have 2 kids, and I'm really shocked by knowing that in the elementary school, we are trying to tell them complicated biology, complicated science, and just trying to explain them why they are women, why they are men. I don't even tell them like something happens bad in the street, some accident. I don't explain them. I just don't see it, because their soft mind they get PTSD by seeing something very, very minor in a square on the street, and they get hit by some car. And we are telling them you're man or women or you're girl or boys. Like, this is outrageous. I cannot think of that. Someone is actually thinking to solve the problem of being inclusive. We want to be all inclusive. We don't want to be exclusive, but doesn't mean that we have to tell them, think about your biology, your science, your gene, your evolution. Like this is not the way to create the inclusiveness. There are many better ways. And I think, and Sharon is people of intellects. I think we should really be user intellects and reason to find a better way to being inclusive and like, being like open, love others and don't harm others. And we always teach them. We don't need to actually go complicated, confusion way to explain why you have to love your peer, your teacher, your neighbor. So I'm sure Sharon School Committee will do much better, and this is not the way to do it. Thank you very much.
I do not believe that school committee is a political platform. And actually, I think that this committee has done a terrific job across all of its members of sticking to the issues in front of us and making the right decisions for the students of this district, or to the best of our abilities at all times. What I will say is, like, on a night like tonight, when we look, there are rules around this stuff, and we have to give our platform to, or it's not our platform, it's this community's platform, to members of the community. However, there are members of the community who come on, like, for example, and I hope this is seen as a positive. I thought there was a gentleman that spoke earlier tonight who made a point that's a difficult point, and there are views to it, respectfully and kindly, and not in a way that was meant to single out anybody in our district, especially children of our district. But sometimes there are times where I think people come on this platform and express things that we would have a hard time letting all the children of this district watch, right? There would be kids in our district who we're in charge of providing a safe education for, who would be hurt seeing some of the things that folks are able to say about them. And because we've made such a commitment to keep this about the business that we're charged with, we don't answer that. And I think sometimes, and I can say this for myself personally, to me, I look at that goal and I think there are times that I could do a better job answering that, saying, as Ms. Crosby said earlier today, there are rights that you can say, but it borders on hate. It borders on not in the spirit of our community. And again, I want to stress that there are people who express similar views, even tonight, and did it in a way that I did not think was hateful, that I thought was just their view. But there are times where people cross a line and say things that I wouldn't be comfortable with my children saying to their classmates. So I certainly am not comfortable with adults in our community on our platform saying. And I think that if we're truly going to say that we're here to stand up for all the kids of the district, there are times that we could find a better way to toggle that line and make it clear where this committee stands, because to me, it's not about political views. It's not about national politics. It's about the fact that we all have decided that we're here to protect and provide a public education for every kid in this district, regardless of what they look like, what they believe in. And I want the takeaway of every student in this district when they see our meetings to be that this is a safe place for them and that we're not going to sit by and let people harm them.